Tonight we meet on the lands of the Kaurna people, 2,600 generations, and we acknowledge Kaurna elders, past and present, and the young people who will be our elders of tomorrow. To all First Nations people, traditional owners, I pay my respects. And to all the listeners out there, it's a very important week, Reconciliation Week. Every Australian has a role to play. As I'm walking my country, feel the spirit of the trees, hear our stories upon the wind. Feel the power of this place, speak our language, speak our name. We come together as we have always. I belong, I belong. Let the love of country make you strong. I am free, I am free, part of everything that lives and breathes. I am free. When our bodies return to the land, back to dust, to soil and to sand, I'll be ready, I'll understand. Ancestors there in the sky will lead us all through the long dark night, through their love into the light. I belong, I belong. Let the love of country make you strong. I am free, I am free, part of everything that lives and breathes. I am free. And in my language, I'm thinking about my country, thinking about going home. Kirairi, kirairi thikapa. Kirairi, kirairi thikapa. Kirairi, kirairi thikapa. Kirairi, kirairi thikapa.
Beautiful. Thanks, Nancy.
Thanks.
Hey,
Hi. I forgot you were there.
I'm here, just creepily hovering in the corner, listening to that beautiful music. And I feel like it's probably a busy time for a lot of First Nations people when they have, this week where, you see a lot of events and that type of thing. So we really do appreciate you coming in to share some songs and some stories tonight.
I said to Tiff on the way in, it's very difficult to say no to 3D radio for a number of reasons. And I think the most important reason I want to share that, why I'm here tonight. Why did I prioritise coming in? And that's because the role of community radio in my life and in the life of so many independent artists out there, and all artists in fact, but it's community radio to me is the future of radio. I believe that commercial radio will disintegrate. I believe that more and more people are wanting the positive messages and wanting to feel connected. They want to switch on the radio when they're driving home and hear beautiful conversations, or they want to learn things. They want to know about what's going on in our beautiful city and our beautiful state. And we've got to remember, every artist out there, is that we've got to give back to community radio. So tonight I wanted to come back and give back a little bit for all that you do, and you've just supported me all along the way, and you'll keep supporting me, I imagine, as long as I'm releasing good songs and stuff like that.
I couldn't see you releasing a bad one at this rate. It's been a good run, and a lot of people here do love your music. I feel like you've featured a few times in some of the end of year countdowns that we do, where you have the most played songs over the year, and I've seen your name in there quite a few times over the years. I reckon
it's a massive difference. I mean, that's how you get your royalties. Like, radio play is a massive part of income, and the more you invest in community radio, the more you're going to get paid. I mean, you can forget the commercials. It's a broken system, but come back to community radio and it's all here for us artists.
Yeah, and fueled by the good people that are listening in who donate their money.
Yes, get those checkbooks out. Nobody has checkbooks anymore, and you young ones don't even. What's a checkbook?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we've got quite a few listeners in the older age bracket, so I dare say would know their way around a checkbook. So particularly with Radiothon, shameless plug coming up as well.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the people listening in. It's great to have you here, and I want to touch on a few different things. We want to talk about you, but also, it's important probably to talk about some of the different strides or, thoughts that you might have that are happening within reconciliation, and reflecting, if you were happy to talk about how you kind of feel, maybe looking in light of the last couple of years, which have been tumultuous.
Let's
Probably
look at the last 24 hours, because something big's happened in the last 24 hours.
Let's go 24 hours, yeah.
Yeah, the last 24 hours. I mean, we're going into Reconciliation Week, right?
Mm.
And there's a 24-year-old Aboriginal man that's been murdered by police in a supermarket.
Yeah.
A man who's living with a disability, a man who needs love, support and care, and the Warlpiri community are just crying out. So driving here tonight, that's all I thought about.
Yeah.
It's all I can think about. It makes me question whether reconciliation is anything that we should continue to talk about, whether Australians actually deserve reconciliation. That's a question on my mind right now. People think they can just rock up to the table and that table is theirs. They can just sit and have relationships with Aboriginal people and, or do the bare minimum. Or maybe there's kind of like a nice corporate breakfast or lunch you can go to an event and you can feel like you've ticked the box of Reconciliation Week. And I mean, the amount of organisations that reach out to me last minute, like literally to ask for First Nations people to engage across that week, it's just often an afterthought. And I think, look, we've got to talk about the impact of the defeat of the referendum. And whilst there's been pushback and that a whole lot of stuff movement is in response to that, I know that there are a lot of Australians standing up. I'm so pleased with the election result. I don't think I could not have taken another breath to think of the alternative. The fact that we now have, for the first time, I believe, a government that we can hold to account on being progressive and being humane. So what is it like as a First Nations person to rock up to a radio station to talk about reconciliation after yet another young man's life has been, another Aboriginal person's life has been taken? They're calling it a death in custody. We can't even call it murder. We can't even say what it actually is. And the pain of that every time. It's 5 years since George Floyd was murdered to the date. And here we are in Australian Reconciliation Week facing this, and you've already got media outlets downplaying it or using language that's just complete lies. Yeah.
As part of, it's such an awful thing that's happened, and you can look probably at, the rates of incarceration, particularly amongst, young Aboriginal people as well.
Yeah.
And I know that's something that
Yeah.
you've got a passion for.
Yeah,
and
let me
have
let me
worked
make a
in.
point about that, right? When I wonder what Australians think when they look at those statistics. Where I've gone into prisons when over 50% of people are First Nations people. When up in the Northern Territory, you have young people, incarceration, 100% of First Nations people. I wonder if most Australians think that that's because we as Aboriginal people are innately criminal, or that we're innately violent, or hostile, or angry, because nothing could be further from the truth. What is actually impacting on these incarceration rates is systemic racism. And an Australia that's just unprepared to come to terms with its colonial past, and the fact that that colonial undercurrent is often, it's often not an undercurrent, it is floodwaters, like we're torrential rain. Even for anyone to even ask whether we've got a problem with racism in this country it's just so disrespectful and just so untruth. Like, if reconciliation at the very core of it starts with truth telling, I hope the conversations over the course of Reconciliation Week in the aftermath of what's happening brings the truth to the forefront, and for Australians to understand we are not innately violent, criminal, bad people. We had no prisons before colonisation. We had a system to deal with things. We've got jails in which people are remanded. Remand means you could be locked up, right? You could end up doing months or years in a prison, never have been sentenced. I've been in prisons on days when there's been a 73% remand rate for women in prisons, and higher than that for First Nations kids. And can we call them children? Like, these are children. I'm starting to really question a whole lot of things, and any validity around the existence of prisons in this country as well. So I just, I'm not going to apologise to the audience. Like, I've got an opportunity to talk to this, and I know there's people out there listening who care, and I know people in this building care about this very issue. But what a kick in the guts to rock up with my guitar to talk about reconciliation. And in my heart, I'm just carrying the sickest feeling for that family, for all Aboriginal people, for anyone, all of those deaths previously and those to come. When will it stop? What was going to take? I don't understand. We keep extending our hand as First Nations people in this country. We do training, we offer songs, there's film, there's dance, there's every aspect of storytelling we give to all Australians in the world, and we're just still not being received. I wonder,
So
I don't know what to do next.
yeah, I understand that. So I feel like, talking about this week, it's the rest of the year and this week included where people aren't doing enough. That should be probably the message that people take away.
Oh, mate, I'm not doing enough.
Yeah.
None of us are doing enough. Something happens and we just scroll past it on our phone, and I know what we're up against. I know we're all just wondering how the hell we can turn this around. It's by showing up. If there's a protest out of this, and there will be, join it. March the streets, do the petition, just reach out, support a First Nations person. Don't put your emotional baggage on First Nations people. Keep your guilt over there. It's not what we want. We just want the truth. We want everyone to acknowledge the truth of this country. Then we can move forward.
Any good protest needs the right music to go along with it as well. So it's a beautiful thing that, at least you can channel through this outlet. And
Yeah.
I actually I had a bit of a coincidental thing happen yesterday where I was talking to a fan of yours, actually, who you may know, Auntie Penny Bonnie.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of Auntie Penny Bonnie. Let's just put that straight.
Yeah. So I've spent the last 3 days hanging out with her down on the Limestone Coast for work I do outside of this, just doing some videos and stuff. And she said I had to mention that she was a fan of yours, and so I just wanted to do that on radio as well. So in amongst all of this, all of this awful turmoil, there's good people out there that like what you do, and we like what you do as well. So I appreciate you coming in and speaking your truth as well.
I think this is a safe place for me to be able to say these things, and that's wonderful. But yeah, could we all do more? Yeah, and let's do more, hey?
Yeah. especially you listening in as well. Everybody. Nancy Bates is performing live from Studio 3. We're happy to have her here. Did you want to give us another song?
Yeah.
Thanks, Nancy.
It was Sorry Day, right? 26. Sorry Day is really important. It's in the lead up to Reconciliation Week. I spent a lot of time, I worked for Link Up for a number of years, helping members of the Stolen Generation to find their way home. And Sorry Day is a day, that really recognises the true history and the removals of so many and the ongoing impacts of those removals on our community. But it also recognises the beauty and the brilliance and the resilience of our people and community have gone on. Members of Stolen Generation have gone on to become prominent leaders in our community, and in every aspect, their descendants, their kids and their grandkids and so on and so forth are making massive change in communities. And I wrote this. This was the song that began all the journey for me around music. And it came after I went to a funeral of Auntie Veronica Brodie, who was a Ngurrindjeri elder who fought really hard to stop the High Marsh Bridge being built, Island Bridge.
Yep.
That might have been a little bit before your time. And I just remember going home and picking up my guitar. I just started dabbling, and then this song just kind of came pouring out of my skin. And I think this is the best place to start for me, if relationship and storytelling is going to make a difference, then the music of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, First Nations people, Indigenous peoples across Australia is, it all holds value. Old Black Woman. Old black woman sits alone, weeping for an old friend who was just passed on, and with tears in her eyes, she looks through photographs. It takes her back to the old times. They first met in a home. They were taken from their families by the Protection Board. They held each other in the night when the longing for their mothers left them overcome with fright. Although those early years were full of pain, together they found the sunshine in the rain, fighting hard to carry on with distant memories of their people to keep their spirits strong. Against all adversity, growing up in a world full of hostility, they bore the struggle and the strain, standing up against the system for their rights they would reclaim. But now she steps into the light. She'll go to her in her dreams tonight. Hand in hand they'll walk a while once more, and her suffering will end as she lay down in peaceful rest, knowing the bond between them gave their life such meaning and something to be thankful for. Take that old black woman by the hand, look into her eyes, let her know you understand. Sit beside her and dry those eyes. the way she did for you when you were a child. And listen to her words, for the chance may soon be gone for the lesson to be learned. She is strong and she is wise, but her heart is full of sorrow. There's a funeral tomorrow. To an old friend she'll say goodbye.
You were touching on something that I think that you see far too often is, when it comes to sites of cultural significance. You mentioned the bridge that they built over to Hindmarsh Island, of course, and you've seen it Canada Caves down the far west coast and all sorts of different areas where people, either through malice or through lack of education, don't properly understand what some of these sites mean to First Nations people. I was wondering if there was anything that you wanted to speak to on that kind of topic, or you don't have to as well.
I think, like we saw, in terms of major company like BHP, having a reconciliation action plan and blowing up a sacred site that's 100,000 years old and go, oh, sorry.
That Junkin Gorge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah.
But it's also like, it's not just mining companies, like it's everyday people. It's like people just not understanding what it is to travel respectfully. And I think the creation stories are so important on a whole number of levels. I was talking about this at the Nature Festival the other night, like if the importance of a creation story is if a mountain is a mother, if a river is a woman and a child, if we can see ourselves in the landscape and in the stories of those landscapes, we care for, we entrust, and that's what's kind of the missing opportunities, in terms of like, there are massive, like the creation stories that, and I'm not a Ghana person, so I can't tell you what those are, but in terms of like the amount of story that's available in this city around Ghana creation stories, the Paramount people up on the hills, etc. This culture is here. It is living. It is continuous. It didn't end. It's never ended. We haven't ceded sovereignty. We've not given up ourselves. And the beautiful thing about that is when we assert our sovereignty, we're doing it for all Australians, so that language and those stories and these places, that country becomes sacred to us all. That's how we deal with this shit that we've got ourselves into. Get back to the land. Build a relationship with Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander people and communities. Go and learn. There's so many opportunities for people, even in Adelaide, to learn Ghana language and story. It's there for your kids now. Like, what a beautiful thing. It's just all there to embrace, and there's no excuse to continue to desecrate the planet. She's had enough.
Yeah. There's so many different groups, and that's another thing, you've got 600 plus groups all around Australia, different Aboriginal groups, different cultures, but the universal thing is always the environment, is always looking after your country and making sure that things that we're seeing now, we're seeing kind of algae blooming up, down on the south coast, and these kind of real impacts which seem to be getting worse and worse, and that's always just been that message that seems to be screamed kind of by...
Like we've got places in South Australia. I mean, I know they're getting a lot of rain on the east coast, but we've got places here in South Australia that are below 40% of the lowest ever recorded rainfall.
Yeah.
That's really scary.
Yeah.
So, that question around kind of like, when we harm country, when we hurt country, we're hurting ourselves. When did we stop seeing ourselves as separate from the land? It's like Uncle Archie Roach, my body is like this land. And this land is the same. You know, the rivers are our veins. It's just, there is no separation between us and the world around us and each other. And we just need to get back to that. You know, I feel like people who harm country, when you harm country, we've all done it. We've all shit in the wrong place when we're out camping.
Yeah.
We've all left rubbish. We're all using plastics. We're all doing it every day. Even when we're trying our best to not do it. It's like we just can't stop spewing, you know. But there's got to come a point, and that point is now. So I guess to talk about what does it mean to harm sacred places, it means to harm the sacred place within yourself.
Yeah. And the feeling kind of that you get when, you know, a lot of people have busy lives, and you can kind of get, you know, maybe you're stuck in an office, or you're, you know, just busy all the time, raising a family, whatever it is, the kind of connection that you get when you go out to somewhere special. You know, you go out to a cave, or you go out to just anywhere in nature. Yeah. That feeling can't be replaced, I think, seems to be my takeaway, or my feeling whenever
I just don't think you can experience awe unless you're out in nature connecting, you know. And that doesn't mean you have to be out bush, because now here we are, here's the city and this is not nature. Well, it actually is still, you know, it's a form, we're shitting all over nature, but we're also, nature is here and alive. I mean, take yourself to the parklands, you know.
Yeah.
Get over to the botanic gardens. There are places, there is also so much work that's been done by Ghana communities as well around, you know, what do you call it? Land management and, you know, revitalizing, you know, basically bringing areas back to, you know, what they were, decolonizing the landscape. There's so much work going on. There's fire sticks now, you know, the group of women who nationally, you know, they're active in fire management across Australia and you know, passing forward that knowledge, that accumulated knowledge of fire management, because that's how we've managed this country for, you know, thousands of years. This is the other thing too, like bushfire season. We're in winter now. This is a time to get this stuff done. Like by the time summer comes around, if we're bringing those practices back into place, we're all safer. The more you can invest in First Nations people, knowledge, knowing more, doing more, investing in it, the safer you are, and your kids.
I've been along to a couple of the Narungga cultural burns before down on York Peninsula. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that they were talking about is, because when you go out there, for people who hadn't been to one, you just kind of set small fires, just low heat fires to manage scrub, protect the canopy. That's kind of the main message. One of the things that they said was when they first started doing it, they had the full CFS crew there, arms crossed, you know, we've done this for 20 years type thing. And over the last few years that they've been doing it, they've been seeing they're all doing it now. They're kind of out there lighting different parts because, like you said, we're a pretty flammable continent, and it's getting drier and hotter. Yeah,
it's getting drier and hotter. I think also we're also learning, I guess, some of the feedback I've heard from community doing that work is that they're not even worrying about revegetation work. It's like it's the cultural fire burning that's going to bring it all back, and that's where we're seeing the most revitalisation and decolonising of landscape is where we've got fire practice. So it's pretty exciting, hey?
It's also awesome. For anyone that's never been to one, sometimes you might see it, your council might be doing it all working in collaboration, maybe with a traditional owner group in your area. To actually see kind of, you know, fire everywhere, it's powerful. A safe and manageable fire, obviously, but it's a pretty powerful thing, I think.
I think, you know, this is my prediction, and you could play this in 100 years' time when I'm dead.
All right.
And I think where systems are falling, and some of them really need to. Capitalism being one of them, right?
You've probably got a few people cheering, listening in at 3D radio.
It's falling down already. I mean, we've got that nonsense going over with the Orange Man, etc., etc. But what it means, it's that last kind of like that sort of
the death knell of capitalism.
Acting up before that's like, oh, we're dying. Oh, we're still relevant. No, you're not. It's like commercial radio. It's there's no future for it.
Yeah.
And as capitalism falls, we're going to be returning to Indigenous knowledges of ways of knowing and ways of being, and building community, around that knowledge system and sharing that is where we're going to be able to move forward into the future. That's my prediction. it will fail and it will fall, and we'll be ready with these other systems that we've had in this country for over 2,600 generations. I was talking, my daughter's an archaeology student. She's nearly all the way through, and she was saying, look, it's at least 100,000 years, Mum, but they can't change it, because if they did, they couldn't, they'd have to kind of, like, she explained to me how Neanderthals, that means that they would, you know, at a time when we had complete civilization here, we had, you know, very different kind of groups of Homo sapiens in different areas, and how advanced the culture has been here for the over, you know, 100,000 years plus. So it's pretty exciting, you know, when you think about it that way. She's right. I mean, we've got no idea what's going on, really, do we?
Yeah. Yeah, she sounds like a smart cookie.
She's pretty cool, and she had a kid, which is great. My granddaughter's 11 months old now, and I'm feeling pretty great about that.
That's awesome. Are you going with Nana Bates, Grandma Bates?
Oh, it's Nana Bates all the way.
Nana Bates has a good ring to it,
I had a beautiful Nana Bates growing up, and who I'm named after, Nancy. She's my great-grandmother who raised my dad, eldest of 18 kids, Dad.
Wow.
And I'm the only one that got her name, Nancy Bates. Pretty bloody happy about it.
Right. Was there any kind of jealousy or kind of squabbling over that, but just everyone just accepted that you got bestowed the honour?
Oh, look, I'm sure there's a bit of backstabbing going on over the last 48 years about my name, but no, that mostly just love, and I hope.
Yep.
Yes.
Nancy Bates, it's awesome to have you here playing live from Studio 3. Would you mind giving us another song?
Yes, and I always want to make that joke. I'm sorry, you know when you're like, we're on live radio. It's like, well, I'm not dead, am I? Not yet. You know, I was talking about incarceration.
Yeah.
And a lot of the listeners will know, and people who know me, that I've been... can I share some stuff with you? Like, there's been really great stuff going on.
Can you tell us about the documentary? Was that what you were going to talk about? Yeah.
That's what I want to tell you about.
Yeah.
So for those listeners out there, Songs Inside, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I'll break it right down. So when I stopped touring with Uncle Archie Roach in 2018, we had been going into prisons all the time with him and Uncle Jack Charles for, implementing music programs, performances, reaching out and reminding our people that are locked up of themselves, you know, who they are as sovereign people, and giving opportunity to take light into dark places that prisons are. And so in 2018, I wanted to go into the Adelaide Women's Prison because the NAIDOC theme that year was because of Her We Can, and I wanted to just start working with women. That's where I felt the next phase for me was about working with women in prisons and doing songwriting. So I started knocking on the door of the Adelaide Women's Prison and met a great woman, Jo McFarlane, got just a tiny bit of money to get a 6-week program together going, and off we went. And then that led to, around the same time, there was a filmmaker you might know, Shalom Armand, incredible woman, who was making Prisoner of Pups about the Greyhound fostering program. So we were both going in, and we'd both been going in, and everyone said, oh, you've got to meet. And then we did meet at a prisoner art exhibition on the outside. And Shalom had been really successful with Prisoner of Pups. Have you seen it?
I have, yeah.
It's great doco, right?
It's an awesome documentary.
I love those doggies.
Yeah, they're gorgeous.
Anyway, and the women, like in the story. So we both developed a passion for working with women, feeling completely inspired, and just like wanting to do more in this space. Also, we shared stuff around, knowing, keeping personal relationships going with women when they were out, the challenges that they faced, and we wanted to do something more. And together, so Shalom's like, you've been running those music programs, and I'm like, yeah. And she's like, well, I'd really like to make another film. Can we make a film about the music program? And I'll follow some women's stories. And I'm like, of course, I would love to. Like, of course, this is fantastic. And so it took a few years for us to get all of that together. And we also then, in the midst of kind of dreaming big, and we allowed ourselves to dream as big as we possibly could, I said, gee, Shalom, what if we got the entire Adelaide Symphony Orchestra to come in to the prison to accompany the women as like the performance outcome? So I'll run the program. We'll get 12 women together. I will teach ukulele. We will write songs, and then perform them with the entire Adelaide Symphony Orchestra inside the prison. So Shalom takes that to the minister and the head of corrections, pitches that, the manager, and they went, yep, let's do it. Never been done before in an Australian prison. The largest scale performance ever in an Australian prison. So in 2020, where are we now? So basically, 2023 up to now has been running the program, following women on their journey. The film has come out for, it premiered at the South Australian Film Festival, Adelaide Film Festival, not South Australian Film Festival. And it took out the People's Choice Award for the best documentary.
Deservedly so.
Yes. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I was there at the event.
How good was that event?
It was very cool. Yeah, absolutely.
And then we're going. The next stop is Sydney Film Festival. So we're in the competition category. We're up against 4 other films for the best documentary in Australia this year.
Huge.
I
think you'll win it. I don't want to jinx it or anything, so we'll not elaborate too much.
If we don't, it's all your fault, and I'm going to be blaming you entirely for that moment. No, I won't.
Sorry to cut you off there.
Yeah. So it's more than a film. It's a film that also we've developed a social impact campaign to go along with it, where we can screen it as widely as possible. It'll be going into prisons. It'll be going into places like Parliament House. It's been screened at places like, I'll give you an example. It was screened at a job network gathering across South Australia, where they might put maybe half a dozen jobs on the table for incarcerated women or formerly incarcerated women.
Yeah.
There were 70 jobs on the table immediately. So trying to, highlight some of the issues that women face. One of them is housing is a massive thing that women faced. We see one of the women in Erin who's let out of prison during the program and is given a sleeping bag.
Yeah.
Not a room, not a house, not a unit, not even just a cot to sleep for the night, but a sleeping bag to sleep rough on the streets.
Yeah.
And if that's what we're going to lock people up. We're going to further terrorise and torment them, because jails are not nice places. They further traumatise people. And then most people are going to get out of prison, and we're just going to give them a sleeping bag and say, good luck.
Yeah.
Hope that works for you.
And you're asking people not to reoffend, where they can then, it's that cycle where people might, go out and they'll just need to go back to the prison because they can't exist out there as well.
So a system can take you in, strip you of everything.
Yeah.
And then
mental health
and live
as well.
and basically open that door, leave you with less than what you had before, and somehow you've got to make your way in the world and turn up for report. The bail conditions that you might have on you as well. There could be a whole range of things like, seeing your kids, because DCP have taken your kids, and a whole range of things. There's just so much that women are up against. And so this film really is about the women that participated in that film and shared their stories. Women that are the most inspiring. People say to me, it's just so good what you're doing in prisons. And it just makes me a bit ick, because it's like, I'm not going in there to do good things to women. I'm going in there to spend time with some of the most incredible women I've ever met in my life, who inspire me to see the world in a very different way and inspire me to do better, and to look at these systems that we need to dismantle and find a way to do that through music.
And teach them ukulele, right?
Yeah, so this next song.
Hell yeah.
The first song ever written in the Adelaide Women's Prison with me. And it came out of a yarning circle where every woman, including me, had a story about domestic violence. And we close the yarning circle and we look at each other and we say, we know what love isn't, so we'll write a song about what love is. Love is strong, strong enough to get along, strong enough to stay, strong enough to walk away. Love is kind, love makes you blind, love helps you see you belong with me. I can deal with my pain in your trusting arms again. Darling, hold me. Darling, hold me. Making love all through the night, 'cause we don't want to fight. If it's tender, then it's right. Darling, hold me. That's what love is. And love grows through the seeds that we sow, through our children and our home. We are stronger than we know. Through hard times, through the good and the bad, through the ups and the downs, we stay around. I can deal with my pain in your trusting arms again. Darling, hold me. Darling, hold me. Making love both through the night, 'cause we don't want to fight. If it's tender, then it's right. Darling, hold me. That's what love is. That's what love is. Sing along at home. That's what love is.
You're listening to Live from Studio 3 with Nancy Bates. Sounding amazing, Nancy. Thank you. When did you first get into Tracy Chapman?
Ooh.
I know that that's a favourite of yours, and you've performed, and I mean this in the the highest possible praise. I hear your voice and I hear hers a little in there as well. How'd you first connect with her music?
Yeah, the radio.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. 13. I was 13 when Tracy's self-titled album came out, and I hear Fast Car. I'm in foster care, and here's this beautiful black woman talking about getting up and getting out. And I just remember in those days, I wish I'd had a license and a car. I would have jumped in that car and driven as far away as I possibly could, I'll get a bit emotional, sorry, but...
Yeah, that's all right.
Tracy, those songs to that kid, that 13-year-old Nancy, and what she did for me, she made me feel proud that I'd overcome so much. She helped me let go of the shame that I'd carried around, growing up poor, going through abuse, being separated from my family and my people for a number of years. Tracy was a beacon of light. She was the hope on the horizon, and she made me want more for my future. And, I sound a little bit like Tracy. People say that a lot, but...
Just a few of the little inflections. I just caught a little bit in that last track. And
yeah, I hear that a lot. She definitely is. I think every songwriter is like a tapestry of every other songwriter that they've ever loved and devoured.
Yeah.
She's part of my tapestry.
Have you ever seen that clip? I don't know if it was a Live Aid concert or something. I think a headliner pulled out, and then it was around when Fast Car had, just become this hit.
Yeah.
And it's just her and the guitar, and that's one of the best live performances I've ever seen, I reckon.
Yeah. When a woman can stand there, when a person can stand there and just be enough with their guitar, that's, I think, when you're fully realised. Yeah.
Where are some of the places you've toured around, and I know you like to go to, probably some of the spots that a lot of touring artists won't hit, some more remote spots. Where are some of the spots where you've felt the most connection back from people when you're there performing your music?
Wilcannia.
Yeah.
That's community.
Is that where your father's from? Yeah.
Yeah, working with the kids out there, working with my own people. When it's the children, it's those little ones, or the teenagers now, or the young adults who they don't sing the national anthem. They sing In This Together, the song that I wrote with Ryan Martin. Ryan Martin and I have been up to Wilcannia and done work with the kids up there to know that a song that you wrote is being sung every week by the kids in your community just means everything to me. There can't be anything greater. But in saying that, I am heading to Canada on Saturday for the International Indigenous Music Summit.
Amazing.
And it will be my first time going to Canada. I'm going over there to share a whole lot of work. The song's a side documentary, but also Black Country is a showcase that I curated last year with Adelaide Guitar Festival, which will continue. It's also going to do a tour with country arts as well, going on sale soon. And Black Country really is my way of creating legacy and a platform for Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander people, First Nations people, Indigenous people globally to share our music and our excellence through country music. And so I'm going over to Canada to grow up the Canadian arm and look for somebody who can perform Canadian contingent. We're also looking at expanding into the Pacific region, working really closely with Adelaide Guitar Festival and Sarah Bleeby on expanding Black Country. So I might travel the world. I think I'll come back from Canada and I'll still say that Wilcannia, is the place for me, where it's just everything. To sing on your own country it's a really unbelievable feeling. I don't have words to describe it other than just complete connection and wholeness, and just a feeling of doing the right thing and being the right person. Yeah. I
know that you've toured a couple of these Black Country shows with Glenn Scunthorpe and Auntie Penny, who we mentioned before.
Oh, yeah.
And Is it a rotating cast, or is this kind of a bit of a locked-in group? I know you curate it, or do you pick different artists that come and play?
It is rotating. Auntie Penny will come back into the fold for some regional work, and I imagine my vision for it is that we would have, eventually this thing where people would, in the way that you might swap around like Cabaret Festival every year, you would have someone, a different person who would come in and curate shows, and the idea is for it to be shared. It's not mine. It's just something I'm investing in so that we can have it as a community, and it's there for, it's about intergenerational song practice as well. So artists like Auntie Penny Bonnie is like one of my favourite all-time songwriters. If you haven't heard Auntie Penny, so Google right now, Penny Bonnie and Only Brother Knows. If you haven't heard that song, and in fact, that song is so relevant to the conversation we had where Auntie Penny has lost a brother, in the same way, in similar circumstances, and has written this, just this such a powerful song. She's one of the most powerful vocalists and songwriters I know of. And to be able to have, Auntie Penny alongside some of the, like Yeti, the three-piece family band, the Rickney Band, who have come together through music and language for the next generation. They have a son and a grandson who's come into the family and are doing that work together. Glenn Scunthorpe, one of the best songwriters in the world, absolutely put my hand and my heart on that one. Jess Hitchcock, people like that. Young Scott Rathman Jr., who's just starting out but just giving it his all. It's about us as a people, as intergenerational song people, and showing how beautiful we are when we sit in our country genre. We've got something unique that the rest of the world needs.
Fantastic. Coincidentally, Auntie Penny gave me a CD which I brought into the studio tonight, so we'll have that in the catalogue from now on. And something that I also wanted to ask you, we're talking about so much of this about this documentary. Are you familiar with the 3D prison show that we have here on Sunday nights?
Yeah.
Excuse me if this has already happened before, but if not, we'll have to get some of that music and make sure that's played, some of the music that you've been recording within the prison, if that was an available thing as well.
Not yet, but
Not
it will
yet,
be.
But eventually.
Yes, we're getting there. And I
that'd be
am
awesome to play as well.
I might actually have to talk to you guys, because I'm really thinking about going back in and maybe we could do a podcast about songwriting.
100%, yeah.
We'll have a chat afterwards.
Yeah, we'll talk. Your people, my people, something.
We'll talk.
If you have just joined us, Nancy Bates is here. I'm just going to quickly check my phone. We've got about 7 minutes left. So
7 minutes.
So we've got options. We can
you
talk a little.
You want chess or something?
How did you know? I've been playing chess all week.
I had to stop playing chess.
Yeah.
Because I started playing chess on an app on my phone while I was driving, and you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I was obsessed.
I relate to that.
I can't. I'm so competitive. And just chess, it just gets me obsessed. So I just had to stop.
Yeah.
Like smoking cigarettes, just had to stop.
I'll get your username as well. We can. What's your ELO?
I'm not starting it again.
Yeah, cool. No, I've started getting depressed when I get a notification on my phone and it's not one of the 7 games of chess that I have ongoing with my friends. So, good call, Nancy Bates.
Got to write songs. I can't play chess.
Would you be able to give us a bit of an intro? I guess we've got time for 1 or 2 more songs. Did you want to give us a little bit of an intro? And also, was there anything else that you wanted to touch on? You covered so much, particularly at the start of the show, about the failings kind of largely that you've witnessed and seen around the country. Are there any, kind of directions that you could see that people can put more effort into to really try and get things back on track, I guess is the question.
Yeah, I think people are really working hard. That's what I want to acknowledge, that there is work going on. That's one thing. I don't want to just come in and go, there's nothing going on and this is terrible. I mean, it is terrible, but there's also a lot going on. I'll just to round this off a little bit, like did the reconciliation walk that the Blackwood Reconciliation Group, I don't know, there would be listeners who actually took part of that in that this week on Sorry Day. It was phenomenal to see the amount of people walking on Sturt Road there down to the old Colebrook site. That was one of the homes where children were removed to, if you're not aware of that. There's a lot of love and solidarity, and there's a lot of people out there wanting to do more but not knowing quite how. And I guess it's like, for me, it's like we've got NAIDOC week coming up, like get out and support us. So get out, just all you need to do. A lot of people are like, well, we don't know what's going on. We don't know how to, like if you've got a smartphone, you can literally find out what's going on in our communities. Get onto the Reconciliation Australia website. There's beautiful resources in there, teaching resources, learning resources. It's your job to teach yourself. Those things are out there. It's not up to anybody else but to do that work for you. It's like the guitar. You can't learn the guitar for me. I've got to go home, I've got to learn, I've got to practice. I've got to do some stuff. You've got to do some stuff, guys. We've got NAIDOC week coming out. Get out and about, support what you can. With the march, come to the NAIDOC march. Come on. Aboriginal people, Torres Strait Islander people are really good looking.
Yeah.
Like, if you just want to see some hotties and do a good thing for the day, like we are a very good looking group of people.
You have attracted a crowd tonight. There is about 5 or 6.
Don't go anywhere because I've got a task for you over there, you weirdos. It's there's places that you can go. The Living Ghana Cultural Centre, Tandanya. We have places in our communities like. There are installations, get onto your local council website and find out what cultural work is going on or has gone on that might be available to you. Listen to First Nations music.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really big one. Put it on your playlist. Listen to community radio as well. And so just seek out. We're just everywhere doing stuff all the time. And incredibly good looking. So I just don't know why there's a reason why people can't do this work.
It almost feels like a crime to have you on radio.
Don't criminalise me over that. God. Geez, blackfellas can't even get on the radio and get locked up these days.
Nancy, it's been such a treat having you in. If you are out there, get online, buy a CD, check out a show when they're happening. Thanks
and take down your Australian flags in the yard. That'd be nice too.
Yeah, bit of an eyesore.
They sort of make you a bit sick.
Yeah.
We don't need that.
That's another nice one. 3 colours.
It's really good. I'm going to invite the people who in the studio to come and stand behind you.
Okay.
Because I need them as backing vocalists for the next song, the last song.
I thought you'd never ask.
Come in. There's a dog!
There's even a dog coming in.
There's a dog!
Got about 7 people. And what do you reckon if I put it just kind of...
In the centre? Come in. All right. I'm going to teach the dog first. Ruff, 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 ruff. Just so cute. I really like... I do hope we get the technology for dogs to be able to sing with us, like, the way that I am with you now, because I'm not going to actually sing with people from that point on. I will just sing with dogs. All right, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, it comes back to this. This is what Uncle Archie would want me to say. At the end of the day, right, doesn't it all just come back to love? if we can love each other, if we can find our way back to the flyer, as he would say, and we can sit there and love each other, we can deal with this stuff. We can change this. We are changing it. And this is your part. I have waited for your love.
I have waited for your love.
All together. I have waited for your love. One more. I have waited for your love. I have waited for your love. Like the night waits for the sun. I am the river, you are the sea. We know these waters, how they run deep. Tides may turn, we may drift apart, but I will love you with my whole heart. Are we ready? 2, 3, 4.
I have waited for your love.
One more.
I have waited for your love.
You really see me, you know who I am, and I have found in you a love I've not felt with anyone else. And if you fall, I've fallen down too. I am much more when I am with you. And as I live, and then when I pass, I will still love you with my whole heart. 2, 3, 4.
I have waited for your love.
Join in at home.
I have waited for your love.
Get the dog singing too.
I have waited for your love.
One more.
I have waited for your love.
When I'm laying by your side, what we see in each other's eyes, lover's touch and love's caress, we have found happiness. 2, 3, 4.
I have waited for your
Come on at home, sing along with us. You just keep it going.
waited for your love.
I have waited
Have waited
for your love. I have waited
Have waited
for your love. For your love.
Have waited
For your love.
love.
I am the moon.
Have waited
You are the sun.
for your love.
I have waited
Have waited
for your love.
for your love.
For your love.
I have waited for your love. I have waited for your love. I have waited for your love.
That's so great. The dog's wagging his tail. It's a winner.